these satellites. He contributed to the development of the International Space Station as the Japanese program manager and to the successful implementation of Japanese meteorological satellite programs and Earth observation programs. His international experience includes stationing at Hughes Aircraft Company in LA for 2 years from 1975 to 1977. That is quite the resume. And so it is with great pleasure that I can introduce Horikawa-san.
Thank you for your kind introductions. Indeed, I had a very unusual experience to come to here. I took 35 hours from Japan to here because of the aircraft travel. So, but this time, I supposed to be a panelist of one of the sessions, but now Raji-san asked me to speak as a spotlight speaker. So I am very much, confused. And after listening this morning's sessions, there are very good discussions for the sustainability and with many distinguished experts. So I personally, did not prepare well, but I will try to speak with the title, Space Sustainability and Governance, and Current and Evolving Challenges for Space Sustainability. And so, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I'm very pleased to be here because this is my first visit to Delhi, so I am very much excited here. At the outset, I would like to congratulate on the successful continuation of the ORF Kalpana Chawla Annual Space Policy Dialogue, and I would like to thank Dr. Raji, who gave me the opportunity to join this well-organized dialogue. I myself have been working on various space system development programs in Japan, as called Japanese Space Agency, JAXA, and its predecessor, NASA, for more than 40 years. As introduced by Dan, the space systems I was involved with include various application satellite programs, such as meteorological Earth observation, communication, and navigation. In addition to the International Space Station, I had the honor to be a project manager and program manager of that International Space Station program for the development of Japanese experiment modules. After my work in JAXA as an executive director, I had an honor to chair the United Nations Committee on the Peaceful Use of Outer Space. I have attended almost all committee meetings and subcommittee meetings last 7 years. So these experiences gave me knowledge on space and urged me to work for long-term sustainability of outer space activities. As shown in this chart, currently about 1,400 satellites are in operation and orbiting around the Earth. Those satellites are categorized as described in this chart: communication, broadcasting, Earth observation, navigation, and so on. I know a few days ago, India launched and released more than 100 small satellites in orbit. I hope all have their mission success. Most of the satellites are registered through ITU or United Nations, but sometimes the information of some satellite is not well communicated to or coordinated with the international communities. As you can see from this chart, with increasing awareness of and concern for the environmental impacts on Earth caused by global warming and related climate changes, many countries recognize the critical importance of monitoring these changes and devising climate change mitigation and adaptation measures. Joint development of interoperable systems to address such issues is an important area for international cooperation. All spacefaring nations, or all of us, have been peacefully utilizing space for socio-economic benefits without any discrimination. Space technology is now a critical tool to support and enhance sustainable development on Earth. As you know, the Earth's orbital space environment and radio frequency spectrums for space utilization are limited natural resources. Currently, threats for outer space activities include orbital debris, radio frequency interference, and near-Earth object or the collision with asteroids. The number of space actors, including new emerging countries and non-governmental entities, such as private sectors or university, is quickly rising. I understand this increase excuse me, cannot be avoided because the right to access to space is guaranteed to everyone. The factors contributing to the threats include spontaneous increase of space debris, technical difficulty of active space debris removal, lack of transparency and confidence building measures, different priorities and funding level of space actors, ASAT testing for security reasons, and an increasing utilization of outer space for security purposes, most notably the use of satellites for military operations. It is self-evident why we need to ensure the sustainability of outer space activities. Space utilization or space development has been pursued for humanity. This is a very famous chart which NASA is updating every year. Last week, NASA made another update at the Science and Technology Subcommittee of UN Corpus. I'm sorry, I couldn't incorporate its new update. But anyway, this illustrates the trend of space debris. Currently, analysis suggests that the total number of space debris will rapidly escalate if we don't take remedial actions. With this chart, I would like to introduce, and this morning it was well discussed, the current activity of long-term sustainability of outer space activities under the chairmanship of Peter Martinez as the UN Corpus. In 2010, the Science and Technology Subcommittee adopted the terms of reference of the Working Group of Long-Term Sustainability, LTS. Since then, I personally have been attending all these working group activities. The objectives of this working group is to examine and propose measures to ensure the safe and sustainable use of outer space for peaceful purposes for the benefit of all countries. The terms of reference for LTS working group established 4 expert groups under the working group for specific themes of long-term sustainability. Various inputs for the discussion were provided by not only member states, but also international organizations. After extensive discussions, last year, 12 guidelines out of 29 guidelines were agreed by consensus. This is a very remarkable historical event to notify this. The rest of guidelines are still in discussion. Last week, we had a very good discussion and well progressed, but none of these guidelines is yet agreed as consensus. The consolidated guidelines will be formalized by 2018 as a compendium, targeting the Unispace Plus 50 event. Unispace Plus 50 is the event. The first Unispace was held in 1968, so next year is the 50th anniversary of that. So we will have various discussions through the 7 thematic priorities. It is highly expected all actors will not create space debris, but it is also expected that we will make efforts to reduce or retrieve existing space debris to prevent significant increase of space debris. However, the guidelines have not yet reached consensus about active debris removal, called ADR, because of a lot of technical, financial, and political issues. Next chart introduces active debris removal research and development status among the countries. This chart shows the several methodologies of the orbital change of space debris: electrodynamic tether, ion beam or laser, and low-density material or dust dispersion. Some of these methods implies security issues, and they are very sensitive and controversial. This chart shows the space debris capture methods: robotic arm or tentacle, harpoon or net, and adhesive methods are being studied. The adhesive method is planned by Japanese private company. But none of these methods is verified yet. We may need some kind of international mechanisms to achieve active debris removal and solve the issues. JAXA planned to conduct electrodynamic tether by the HTB return, which is a logistics flight, H2 transfer vehicle flight this month. But unfortunately, as someone says, that we could not achieve it. Space is not an easy place to conduct experiment. So at this point, distinguished guests, I'd like to take this opportunity to emphasize the collaboration between India and Japan and global governance of space activities. India and Japan have enjoyed a long history of cooperation in various arenas, from cultural exchanges to economic and science endeavors. The Indian Space Research Organization, ISRO, and Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, JAXA, have been working together in the field of Earth observation for socio-economic benefits. A successful cooperation example that should be noted is cooperation for disaster prevention through the Sentinel Asia project under the framework of the Asia-Pacific Regional Space Agency Forum, called APR-SAF. This year, APR-SAF will be held in India. Both India and Japan are pursuing similar space programs, such as launch vehicle development, Earth observation, communication, and broadcasting and navigation. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Japan's Prime Minister Shinzo Abe held several discussions at various occasions, such as mutual visits, ASEAN conference, and COP21, and also discussed on economic, scientific, technological, cultural, and even security subjects. At the recent India-Japan summit meeting, which was convened in December 2015 in New Delhi, the two nations jointly released the India and Japan Vision 2025 Special Strategic and Global Partnership, working together for peace and prosperity of the Indo-Pacific region and the world, and acknowledged the ongoing civil activities in space between JAXA and ISRO, expecting enhanced cooperation in the area such as Earth observation, satellite navigation, space science, and planetary exploration. In 2018, Japan is scheduled to host the second International Space Exploration Forum, ISEF-2, to coordinate future cooperation of space exploration program. This forum will provide not only the collaboration scheme on space exploration, but also new framework of space activities among spacefaring nations. The leadership of both countries is highly desirable. As mentioned in Unispace Plus 50, India and Japan have broad capacity to lead these themes, including sustainability, and expected to set up initiatives together. So as a conclusion, as you know, in July 2013, UN General Assembly adopted a group of government experts report, which states that the best practice guideline for long-term sustainability of outer space activities produced by UN Corpus will have characteristics similar to those of transparency and confidence-building measures. And ISEF, International Space Exploration Forum, held in Washington, D.C. in 2014, acknowledged that the UN Corpus is an important venue in which spacefaring and non-spacefaring nations alike can continue to discuss important issues regarding the long-term sustainability of the space environment for all users and protecting us from potentially hazardous objects. In 2018, as I said, Unispace Plus 50 is planned to continue to finalize best practice guideline. With this, it would be still important to look into the overall role in meeting the needs for long-term space utilization by appropriately identifying the synergies of common interest issues with related countries. So I would like to conclude my talk. Thank you for your attention.
So we have time for one question. You don't mind? One. The lucky winner.
I'm Mikran from Space India. We work for educating students in space sciences and astronomy, and I myself develop products. So these kids are very small, and when they grow up, maybe say 20, 30 years from now, space, the debris will be concerned, and I am particularly concerned about space warfare. We recently saw China had launched an anti-satellite weapon creating a lot of debris. So I want to know, what is being done, what can be done to prevent military activities in space. That's a lot of concern by a lot of people. So what is the status of military activities, and what would be your comments on that? Thank you.
Thank you for your question, but I'm not a specialist in the military field. I am more like civil utilization for outer spaces. But the military use is very difficult for our outer space activities, and so we should examine the such problems to use outer space. As this morning's discussions, conference disarmament is the venue to discuss about these issues. And also, International Code of Conduct, which was raised by European Union. Unfortunately, it is not well progressed, but every country should understand and think about this situation and collaborate to keep our space very sustainable.
Horikawa-san, we would like to thank you again for your comments, and thank you for being with us.
Thank you very much.